In today's video, Q&A with WNBF Pro Figure World Champion, Katie Rutherford.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com and I'm so excited. Look who I got here with me today.
Woo! Katie Ann.
This is Katie Ann 100, Katie Rutherford. Many of you know her as like the queen of quads, the amazing US APL powerlifter. She also won a WNBF world title this year.
Yes.
The figure and the Orton Cup.
Yeah.
Tall class, so I mean just...
It was a good year.
Yeah, so if you don't really know much about Katie, then I don't, why are you on my channel? You know, everyone knows. So what we did, we thought it would be fun to get together is to do some Q&A. We just threw it out there on Instagram and said, hey,
Q&A.
you got a question?
Q&A time.
We're gonna answer it right now. So we're gonna start with Alaskan Muscle Girl, my girl Katrina.
Oh.
When doing time management with online coaching clients, how do you guys structure that?
Oh, time management.
Great question.
Oh, wow. Well, it really depends on the day.
Yeah.
So usually for me, it depends when you work best. So for me, with lots of online clients and with just emails coming in every day, it can be a little bit hard to have an actual structure without getting overwhelmed, because it can be easy because you have your email on your phone, you can basically work all the time and everywhere you are. So for me, what I like to do is usually have a block of time where I work in the morning. So I usually wake up, do my morning routine, have a block of time that I work. Then I have kind of my time in the middle of the day where I lift and I maybe go out, run errands, do whatever. Not a lot of people out because it's not during rush hour, it's before rush hour and it's in the afternoon. So I do errands, appointments, whatever it is, and then at night I like to work. So I am a nighttime worker for sure. So I usually like to split up my day and have periods of time where I'm answering emails and then periods of time at night where I'm doing content or answering emails. But it really will depend on each person and when you work best, your family life, your setup. For me, I don't have a family, I don't have anything really, depending
you have a
on
Stanley.
me.
You have a puppy.
Yeah, I don't have significant other or anything like that. So for me, it's a bit more flexible. So depending on just kind of what I want to do that day. But for Paul.
Well, I think you nailed it. I think early on when I switched careers, because we both came from a 9-to-5 office career background, and I think at first you're kind of like excited, like, well, I can get up and work in my underwear and walk around the house and work at 3 in the morning if I want. But what's funny is, I don't know if you've noticed this, but over time, my schedule has become closer and closer to what it used to be, like a structured day where at this time of day, I'm doing this, and at this time of day, I'm doing that. And I find I'm much more effective when I'm not trying to do 2 things at once.
Yes.
When it's time for me to go in that office and answer emails, that's all I do.
Right.
When it's time for me to go to the gym, that's all I do. I don't try to go to the gym and answer an email between sets, and I find that I just am not very effective.
No.
Short answers.
Yes.
And so, you know, if it's video editing, if it's spending time with my son, if it's whatever it is, I'm doing that thing.
Right. And also, too, it's been shown that you really can't multitask. You're not good at it. If you're trying to multitask, you're not doing each thing as well as you can. So you need to be focused on one thing.
It feels like you're getting some stuff done sometimes, but then you look back and you're like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
So the answer for every person is going to be figure out what works best for you, your schedule, but block off time for each thing you're doing. Block off time for eating, for the gym, for food prep, for family, and you'll just be much more effective. And be flexible. You know, it might not look the same every day.
Yeah, no, my days are never the same depending on my appointments. Also, too, if things come up with like a call or with a training session or with people in town, obviously I'm very flexible, but I have the majority of my days tend to be the same.
Great question, Katrina. Hope you guys like the answer. So let's go to yours and see what you got.
How do you recommend tracking workouts and progress in the gym? So for me, I track workouts a couple different ways. So I have an Excel file that I use where I actually track the weight and the number of reps and the number of sets and the exercises that I use each week. So I check in with, and this is from Sarah Ford.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen for you guys.
Okay. So for me, I have a couple different ways. So as I mentioned, I have an Excel sheet that I check in. I actually have a programming coach and I have a diet coach. Just because you're a coach doesn't mean you do not need a coach. You need accountability.
Coaches need coaches.
Yeah, coaches definitely need coaches. And it's really hard to be objective with yourself for anyone, no matter how elite of a coach you might be or how many clients you've had. It's really hard to be objective.
And
with yourself.
personally, I just like to take the stress off myself.
Yeah, I don't like to monitor myself. I monitor so many other
it's
people.
like you do so much already. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just want to unplug, go do what you're told to do, enjoy it, and come back.
Yeah, exactly. So I track my workouts, my accessories, my main lifts. Since I'm more of a hybrid training program right now, not powerlifting specifically, on an Excel file. So I have that on my computer, but I also write down my training. Well, I haven't been while I'm here training in Florida because we've been kind of.
There's two different types of training. There's structured, planned out, more auto programming for a powerlifting progression, something like that. And there's let's just go in and crush a body part or two.
Usually when I can't talk. When I'm with friends, I tend to have a little bit less structure. But when I'm at home, I actually write down every single lift that I need to do because it keeps me focused in the gym. It keeps me on track. So I have my training notebook, and then I also have my Excel sheet in my computer. But generally, too, video. That's a great way to track your training progress. So I enjoy looking back at videos that I have on my computer. So Paul and I were kind of looking back through videos. I think that was last night, and just looking at lifts. So I just go back in my files, and I have videos from up to 3 years ago where I see my squats, I see my even just accessory work, and I'm like, oh wow, my shoulders are so much more developed now. So in that way, it's like a visual progress photos are also good, even though that's not training your workout. It's good to see, all right, how do I look with this training program that I've been doing? Because that's important. What are your goals? So if you have physique goals,
sometimes you're going to make mistakes. You're going to jump into programs and not know, and you might go through 4 or 6 weeks and be like, you know what, I didn't like that. I'm going to go back to this style. But always be willing to experiment, because in the life cycle, the macro cycle of an athlete, if you don't change it up, you might look at something and think, you know what, that doesn't look like it'll work, but it might have been the magic bullet for you to make progress. So I mean, I think the most common ways are going to be a handheld notebook where you just write things down as you go in the gym. And then if you want to transfer it to Excel, and there's a really cool website called Fitocracy where you can actually plug in the lifts, all the weights you do. It'll give you rewards, and it's you create a profile, and you can actually put your workouts in. It'll give you goals for volume. It'll say, hey, you hit a weight squat PR, blah blah blah. So Fitocracy is a really cool option.
Yeah.
All right, so question again from a client of mine named Michelle from Italy. So,
hi, Michelle.
What do you think about a flexible training schedule? You can choose the intensity of the training session based on how you feel that day. Go, Katie.
RPE based training, so rate of perceived exertion. This is something that I definitely use with certain clients. It really depends on what type of training program you're following, what your goals are. So it is a more advanced, I would say, training regimen. So a lot of times for the beginner lifter, the beginner powerlifter, the beginner bodybuilder, whatever, you don't really know. You're like, oh, this is failure. Oh, wait, I thought I had 2 reps left in the tank. So an 8 RPE, for example, so it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So an 8 would be you have 2 reps left in the tank. A 9 would be you have 1 rep left in the tank. You can look this up online and see kind of a chart and what all these terms mean. But basically going by feel is by going to specific RPE targets. So it's a bit more advanced. You really have to have some training knowledge in order to understand, okay, this is my threshold. This is I know when I feel this certain way, I'm at about an 8 RPE. I'm still improving on it myself. I like to train by more RPE based now, based on the training schedule that I have. So it's good for if you're suffering from an injury or you're getting ready for a show and your energy might be low. That is definitely a good way. I recommend
That's where I was going to go with this. So, you can chime in on this because you just went through prep. You just competed in a bunch of shows. And where I really like to use auto-regulation, that's basically what you're referring to, Michelle, is auto-regulation is the idea that based on how you feel that day in the gym, you go in, you start warming up. If you feel good, you're going to lift a little heavier that day.
Right.
If you feel run down, you might use a little bit of a lighter load.
Yeah.
It's very valuable in contest prep.
Oh yeah, I use that every single day.
Energy and recovery are so variable.
Yeah.
And you might have a planned day where you're going to hit 5 reps on a lift and you start warming up and it's bad news bears.
Yeah, I actually would say if you're in contest prep, I mean, I guess I don't really think that I'm auto-regulating every single day, but I generally tend tend to do that more in my training.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a bit more, I guess you could say, like in tune with my body and experience. And I know if I push this certain weight,
Yeah.
like there's no point in trying to push something past a certain point if you're in contest prep, because it's most likely just going to lead to injury.
Yeah, deep in a fat loss phase, you're not looking to like change the world, put on tons of muscle.
Right.
You want to keep as much muscle as you can
Right.
and avoid injuries.
Right.
So you can keep training and
Exactly.
recovery at a high level.
Powerlifting, though, is a little bit different. I would say that people that just have RPE targets for main lifts, you have to be pretty darn advanced.
That's when video comes to help, because a lot of
Yeah.
times I've had the bar on my back, I've gone down, done a squat,
Yeah.
come up and been like, that was RPE
Yeah.
10. Look at the video,
Yeah.
and the speed told me otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, I still like to have weight targets to hit in training.
Yep.
And then if I'm like, holy crap, that was like a 9.99 RPE,
Yeah.
then I'd auto regulate and
Yep.
adjust my training down. So generally, like for my clients, I don't like to give them RPE targets necessarily if they're training for a powerlifting meet, because it can be really hard to judge like
Yep.
triples and doubles and singles like RPE unless I see the video with that. So it depends on each person.
Great question. Okay, from Chrissy Fenner, one of my clients. What are your thoughts on wearing a waist trainer specifically for a competitor? Any benefit other than improving posture while you wear it? Go, Kate.
I personally don't see any benefit. It might make you sweat a little bit more and feel like you're working out harder, but it's not going to change. Well, actually, there can be detrimental effects from certain weight
Yeah, it can
trainers.
actually move your organs around
Yeah.
depending on how strict.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of cases I've seen where organ damage was done. So
Just lose body fat. Don't wear a waist trainer.
it's not going to change the shape of your waist in a
No,
healthy manner.
no.
So I don't find it beneficial for that at all. However, if you like to wear, like sometimes I wear knee sleeves or elbow pads because it helps me feel my spatial awareness, like
Right.
where my body's at.
Right.
Sometimes wearing a weight belt actually teaches me to brace better because I'm pushing out
Right.
against it. So
Right.
if you're going to wear it for that impact, that's fine. There is
Right.
zero benefit to wearing a waist trainer while you train. It doesn't shrink your waist.
No, and also it can be dangerous if you are wearing it extremely tight and displacing organs. So I would say don't wear it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just lose enough
Personal
fat.
preference.
Yeah.
As a coach, I always say it has no benefit. If you like to wear it because you just like the way it feels,
Yeah, then that's fine.
cool.
From someone who still eats, I think they're referring to me, how do I cut 5% without jacking up my metabolism or my brain? So I'm assuming that you're referencing cutting 5% of your weight or 5% body fat. It depends. I don't know how lean you are or what your current body fat is, but losing 5% of your body weight is not a large percentage, so you can actually diet pretty moderately, healthfully, and still not jack up your metabolism at all.
Yeah, and I think what you're referring to here is the term that used to be referred to as metabolic
Yeah.
damage.
Right.
And we now know that there is no such thing as actual damage, meaning there's nothing permanent that happens to your metabolism. It's an adaptation.
Adaptation,
Perfectly
metabolic
normal.
adaptation.
It's actually a healthy part of life. You want to adapt. So, yeah, if you're going to lose weight, you're not going to be able to avoid metabolic adaptation. It's why we get hungry when we diet. Our body has homeostasis. It wants to stay a certain body weight. So you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable. That
Right.
doesn't mean there's anything permanent or damaging. It just means that when the diet's over, don't go back to your lifestyle before where you were eating the same amount of calories. You have adapted to that level, and you must pay attention to that. Otherwise, you can risk putting the weight back on or even body fat
Right.
overshooting.
And you're probably not going to feel, so you said your brain, so you're probably not going to feel that sort of lightheaded diet brain until probably the end.
Very lean.
End
very low body
stages
fat.
of prep.
Or
honestly,
ultra low calories. If you're on a really restricted like 500 calorie
dangerous
diet.
diet, then yeah.
It's really hard to answer this question.
Right,
It's so vague.
it's so vague, right.
Yeah.
But you can healthfully lose 5% of your body weight or body fat without jacking anything up.
Indeed.
all by myself.